Ladies and gentlemen, if you flip your textbooks to page 118 in your Quantum Physics notebooks, you'll see we're going to learn a formula today that will make dropshipping easy again. It will simplify the entire game for you and give you the only two metrics you actually need to track and makes every other number irrelevant because it will give you the full health of your dropshipping business right now and tell you where you're going right and where you're going wrong and need to put more time and focus into so that you make more money and you save yourself from testing losing products that will only burn your time and money. Now, I know that sounds like a lot, but this is truly a formula that took me years to figure out because no one in the dropshipping space ever talks about this. And it comes down to boiling the dropshipping process to your website and your ads. So basically your whole marketing process, your customer journey. That is really essentially all of what dropshipping is. Now, I know lots of people put a lot of emphasis into your product and your product research, rightfully so. But the reality is no matter what product you sell, there will be hundreds, if not thousands, of other people selling it. There's over 5 million dropshippers in the world today. So when you have a winner, God knows you're going to have other people sniffing right behind you, wanting to test and leech right off of your product like a parasite. But we all do the same thing. It's a dog-eat-dog world. That's business. Welcome to it. No matter what you do, there will always be other people trying to bring you down. So how do you create a moat and get 10 steps ahead of all the other beginner dropshippers that have no idea what they're doing? They are making all of their decisions based on gut feelings. They know some basic KPIs that some YouTuber told them were important, but they don't actually understand why these numbers are important. They don't know why they're tracking these. They'll have some basic numbers like, oh, I think my cost per click should be below $1 because I learned that in this one tutorial. Or, oh, I think my website needs to be converting at above 1.3% because on Shopify, that's the average Shopify conversion rate on a store. That is true. But you have to realize things are case by case. But you also need to have a baseline to understand if your website is performing optimally and if your ads are performing optimally. So I want to give you those baseline KPIs and also explain some scenarios and examples that will really cement this into your head as to how you can apply this today with your store, because it will give you complete clarity as to what you actually need to do today to be more profitable and scale and eventually get to $1,000 a day, $5,000 a day and beyond. In fact, I have students right now, had a call today. All we did was talk about these two metrics. We have students doing over $1,000 a day, and yet they still have confusion as to what to do next. They don't know what to prioritize. And you may be in that situation where you don't know what you're doing right and you don't know what you're doing wrong, even if things are going right and you're making $1,000, $2,000 a day. I have plenty of students right now that are only been doing this for a couple months and therefore they're just inexperienced. They don't know what to prioritize and what to focus on, which is why they pay me. So on that call, I had this student that was doing about $1,000 a day, and we're talking, how do we scale? Because while he was at $1,000 a day, he had a few days earlier in the week where he was actually making some more money. So he was at around $1,500 to $2,000 a day, but his numbers dipped. And I'm sure that's a scenario that's very common to you guys and probably has happened. So a lot of people in that scenario tend to panic. They tend to go in defense mode, lower budgets, go back to the drawing board, almost retest the product all over again, and the product ends up dying because you don't know how to maintain your momentum and you don't know how to deal with bad days. And that's only because you don't understand the right KPIs that tell you the health of your business. So without edging you and blue ballsing you even more, let's talk about those exact metrics. So for your website, the main metric, the God tier metric, the only thing you need to keep track of is your revenue per session, your revenue per visitor. So as an example, what is revenue per visitor? The actual formula itself is your average order value times conversion rate. Now, I know a lot of you guys aren't the highest IQ people in the world. I know many of you did not go to college and don't even know basic algebra. So let me give you an example for you visual learners. Just imagine these numbers in your head right now, if you can. Put down that Coco Melon and that TikTok. So imagine you have a store where you're selling a product that is $50. Like this Gucci Louis Vuitton pencil. Now, if you have 100 visitors that come to your website, and out of those 100 visitors, 3 buy, that means you have a 3% conversion rate because 3 divided by 100 is 3%. Now, they're buying a $50 product from you. So 3 times that $50 product means you made $150 in revenue from those 100 visitors. Now, to calculate revenue per visitor, you just divide your revenue by the total amount of visitors. So I made $150 in revenue, divide that by 100 visitors, it's $150. So in this case, $1.50 per visitor. That is the baseline for your revenue per visitor. And that will give you the exact health of your website and how optimized it is right now. That is the true success KPI, in my opinion. It's not your conversion rate, it's not your AOV, but it's putting both of those together in context to make up this number. Because you'll sell products that, let's say, are $25 products, and you may have a 2% conversion rate, and you're thinking, oh, that's amazing. The average conversion rate is 1.33%. I'm above that. Therefore, my website is doing its job. But it's really not. Because if you have a 2% conversion rate and you're selling a $25 product like this Walmart pen, then that means you're making 50 cents per visitor because you're making $50 per 100 visitors. 50 cents per visitor is not a lot. That means you need to have your ads getting you visitors onto your website for lower than 50 cents. And really, to be profitable and making actually any bit of money, you're probably going to need your cost per click to be 25 cents, 20 cents, 10 cents, which is very difficult to do. You're not leaving yourself much room for error there, or really any margin to play with your ads. So your ads need to be incredibly dialed in to carry the lack of performance of your website. And a lot of people will have a successful dropshipping store and they're thinking they're crushing it because in most cases, they ran some TikTok ads where their CPM was really low. They were getting great clicks because of that. So 10-cent clicks, and their website's making 30 cents a visitor, which is a 3x. That is good. When you put $1 in, you're making $3 back. And they think to themselves, okay, there's nothing I really need to work on. Or they just base it on their gut feeling and they see, oh, my cost per click raised from 10 cents to 12 cents. All right, now it's time to work on some new ads. And they don't even bother changing up their offer or their website at all without realizing that's the main gain. That's the main play for you to really increase your profitability. So the reason why we have these KPIs is so that you know, okay, which lever should I be toggling right now, putting more time and attention into to become more profitable? Which one's easier to do? Is it easier to go from $1 cost per click to 50 cents a click? Or is it easier to go from 20 cents per visitor on my website, revenue per visitor, to 40 cents? They both make the same amount of money. If you cut your ad cost in half, you're going to make double the money. If you double the amount of revenue you make per visitor, then you double the amount of money you make. But is it easier in this case to go from 20 cents to 40 cents revenue per visitor, or $1 to 50 cents for your ad costs? In this scenario, way easier to get your website to 40 cents because there's websites that are making $8 per visitor, but there's not a lot of websites. And in that scenario, that would be a 16x increase. There's not a lot of ads that are getting, from $1. So a 16x below that, I mean, that's 4 cents a click, essentially. 5 cents. That would be a unicorn style ad. There has to be so many variables that are outside of your control to get to 5 cents a click and make sure those are high quality clicks because sure, you could run your ads to India and get cheap clicks, but then that's going to impact your website performance. And that's another can of worms that we are going to cover later on in this video. But let's get back to your website. So revenue per visitor is the most important metric. You want to be at around $1.50. That is your baseline. So that means if I'm selling a $200 product and my conversion rate is 1%, which yes, is below the standard Shopify conversion rate, I'm still making $200 per 100 visitors. That's $2 per visitor. So I'm actually doing really good. Now, does this mean I shouldn't split test at all? I shouldn't do anything even if I am hitting that KPI? No, because it can always be better. And that has to be your mentality. Dog eat dog. I have to improve, create that moat, keep getting better than my competition, keep learning more so I can get ahead of them consistently. Because if you're not improving and if you're not iterating, then you're dying. People are going to catch up to you. It's a lot like being an athlete. Every day you're not putting in work, there's somebody doing it. While you're not working, somebody else is working. Someone is trying to catch up to you and beat you. You have to be constantly growing, not necessarily in survival mode, but you have to be constantly improving your game in every area. Now, how do we improve our revenue per visitor? Let's say you're currently selling a $40 Stanley Cup white girl. I am incredibly basic. I drink Starbucks. I go on to my TikTok and all I do is look at dog videos type of water bottle. And you do your Pilates and yoga, of course. I know I'm making fun of those types of girls, but those are honestly my crushes as well. I love a very feminine white girl. But If I'm selling a $40 water bottle, let's say my conversion rate is around 2%. That means I'm making 80 cents per visitor. So how do I get closer to my $1.50 mark? Well, that's where the biggest variable you can play with, the biggest factor would be your offer. Are you currently split testing your offer? And I would say the difference between my coaching and other people's coaching is I'm a true stickler when it comes to you have to be split testing everything. I come from the ad agency world where we work with big brands. And when you work with 7 to 8 figure brands, the only thing they're thinking about is how do we make our business more profitable? Because we're selling the same product. They don't have the luxury that dropshippers have of constantly being able to swap out their product whenever they want, willy-nilly, ADD. I'm a goldfish that has, whatever the syndrome is, shiny object syndrome. Sometimes my brain's a little slow. I can't lie. It's all the Alzheimer's I got kicking in. But the way you increase it is your offer and split testing. Because most dropshippers, their main issue is they're only putting one price point. They only put one type of offer, and that is what they will do forever. They will never change it. So they're just betting on this one lottery ticket that it will work. And if it doesn't work, then okay, it's the product's fault, move on. Wasn't anything I did. I gave it a full good chance here. I gave it 1 day of ads running into an offer that was irresistible. I mean, hey, it's $40, but we set the compare app price as $80. I mean, that's a steal. 50% off. Oh my gosh. That is the average dropshipper. That is who you're competing against. So if I'm selling this water bottle, and let's say my COGS are $10, how do I come up with a better offer than the average dropshipper who will sell this at 30, 40, whatever the hell? Well, I would start with trying 2 different offer structures. Now, an offer structure is just the way you present your offer. It's not changing necessarily the price point. It's just changing the way the offer is presented. So you can have a BOGO offer. That is one type of offer structure where it's buy one, get one free. You could have a volume discount. That's a different offer structure where if you buy more, you save a certain percent. So if I buy 2, then I save 50%. If I buy 3, then I save 60%. So it's a volume discount. There's also just discounts on buying 1. That's what the typical vanilla dropshipping offer is. It's 50% off if you buy 1 or 60% off sale on 1. I would try to stay away from that. Those tend to be the lowest performing offers from what I see. And nearly all of my successful students right now, they're doing over $1,000 a day, have some sort of bundle offer where most people are taking the second or third option of buying multiples instead of just 1. I honestly think most of my students wouldn't be successful if they just stuck with the generic offers that are available in dropshipping. So if I was selling this water bottle, let me get one quick sip. Tasty and refreshing. I always see those commercials where it's like Marlboro cigarettes. The smooth, refreshing taste of a Marlboro cigarette. Sorry, ADD kicking in. But for this water bottle, I would most likely start with either an accessory or a BOGO. So I would do a BOGO, especially if I had multiple colors because people do like to buy things in multiples. So I would start with, okay, if it cost me $10 and let's say 2 of them are $15 in total, I would probably start at $40, $45 as a BOGO offer and see how that performs. And then I would split test it using an app like AB Convert or VWO. And the second offer could be possibly a volume discount. So if you buy 1 right now, let's say $39.99, but if you buy 2, then the total price will go down by, let's say 30%, which means you can get 2 for, instead of $79.99, you'll be getting it for around $69 to $68, if my math is right. So we can compare which one performs better. So obviously for the customer, the first offer is better because they get 2 for 40, 45, whatever you want to go with. And the second one, they get 2 for $69. Now, the conversion rate and the AOV is going to be very drastically different on those different offers. Because on the first offer, it will most likely be around 40 to 45. And then on the second offer, it will most likely be, well, if you do offer 1, probably will be closer to like 55. So some people will take the buy 2 volume discount and some will just take the I'm just going to buy 1. But you only know if you test. So maybe this one actually does have a lower AOV because everyone's just taking the buy 1 and they're not interested in the buy 2 at that current discount. Maybe we have to discount it more. Maybe we have to add free shipping or a free bonus to make it more incentivizing and more irresistible for people. But that's where testing comes in. But you may notice, okay, while this is a worse offer for the customer value-wise, when they buy 2, it's 69 versus if they buy 2, they get 45. I'm noticing my conversion rate on this is 3%, and then my conversion rate on this one is 4%. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that this offer is better because, again, it's based on which one makes me more money. So if I, with the first offer, have an AOV of $45 and my conversion rate is 4%, 45 times 4, 180, which means I make $1.80 per visitor. That's not too bad. Now, on the second offer, let's say my AOV is better than this first one because, yeah, we're doing buy 2 for 69. So let's say the AOV on this offer is 60, and then the conversion rate is, we said 3%. Let's go with the AOV of 65 just for easy math. 65 times that 3% conversion rate, in that case would be $1.95. So $1.95 per visitor. So even though the conversion rate is 3% versus 4, we actually make more money with the offer that has a 3% conversion rate because now we have to also factor in your AOV too. So again, how you increase your revenue per visitor comes from offer split tests. Your offer is the biggest lever you can split test and get that number getting higher. It's the 20% action that delivers the 80% of results. Now, obviously you can focus on, your website design and other little things. They are pretty insignificant compared to your offer. Offer is usually the number one factor. Now, in terms of what are other high priority tasks that can impact it besides your offer, your social proof. Having irresistible social proof that gives people undeniable proof that your product actually provides the transformation that they will get and want with your product. So obviously, if I'm selling a problem-solving product, having those before and afters, having visual proof of the effect of the product. So if I'm selling shapewear, a reason why it's so easy to sell is because you can instantly see the visual transformation that happens. You can see someone go from little tubby to a little skinny. You can see someone go from flat pancake iron board to absolutely dime piece, hubba hubba, thicker than a bowl of oatmeal. Having trouble grasping words today. Sorry, it's a little late. But it's easier to sell that when you have the visual transformation. So social proof is really big. And then urgency. Give people a reason to buy today. If your conversion rate's low and you're noticing, okay, I'm getting a lot of add to carts, I'm getting a lot of reach checkouts, but people aren't buying, that typically is due to you're not giving people a reason to buy today. And that's urgency. This sale ends this week only. It ends today only. Or we have limited supply available. Those are the two real factors you can do. Either limited supply or you have some sort of sale discount value that they can only get if they buy right now. So play around with those. Other things you can do is obviously making sure your copy is up to par. I would say that's the fourth most important thing, making sure you're obviously hitting on the right pain points, hitting on the right benefits, hitting on the right use cases, hitting on the right features that people really care about. Features are the least important out of that. Benefits, use cases, transformation, future pacing them on what life will be like after you buy the product and how it will really transform their life. Also, price anchoring, telling them that, okay, shapewear. In that instance, what's the alternatives to that? So I'm selling from the positioning that you want to feel better about yourself instantly compared to, okay, with dieting, you have to spend hundreds of dollars on healthy food and it takes months to see any results compared to you can spend $30 in my shapewear, get instant results, and you don't even have to change your diet whatsoever. So what's the easier option? What is the fastest, easiest, and most affordable solution to your problem? Because that's what people are looking for. And then obviously, are you handling their objections? Every single objection. Shipping, here's our shipping. Money back guarantee if it doesn't work or if it's not the right size. We got you. Is there a certain material that they only want to wear? Okay, cool. This is the material. It's exactly the one you like. Handle all objections. Get into their mind. And that's only through when you do your research. Now, that's basically everything on the website side. So you should now have a good grasp as to, okay, with my website, it's not just as black and white of, okay, let me look at my conversion rate and that's it. Because again, your product determines your revenue per visitor. If I'm selling a $20 product, I need to get around a 7.5% conversion rate to hit $1.50. So if you're selling a cheaper product, you need to have a higher conversion rate to combat that. And if you have a higher AOV product, then your conversion rate doesn't need to be as crazy high. If I'm selling a $500 product, my conversion rate could be 0.5%, and that's still $2.50 per visitor. I'm making more money per visitor than someone who has a 10% conversion rate on a $20 product. So from the outset, it looks like this website should be doing better, the one with 10% conversion rate, but it's really not. You just have to understand the numbers. This is just basic math. Now, on the ad side of things, what is the basic KPI? So we know if our website's making $1.50, it's doing its job. I would say on the ad side, it's doing its job if it has cost per clicks under 75 cents. That's a good baseline. Now, obviously, there's case by case ambiguity because I could spend $1 to get someone on my website. So my ads are getting clicks at $1, but my website is making $3 per visitor. So that's still really profitable. Now you can argue, okay, the website's doing the carrying and the ads could step up a little bit, but I could have an ad that gets me clicks at 20 cents and my website performance goes down because those clicks aren't as high quality as the dollar clicks. So cost per click on its own isn't the greatest metric. It's more based on what's kind of the conversion rate from your ad. I would say conversion rate on your ad is a really good metric to look at. But for this formula, it's just based on how much does it cost you to acquire a visitor and then how much are you making from that visitor. You just want to simplify it to those two variables. So if on the ad side, it would be cost per click. But you have to understand these things are linked together. If your ad does a great job of pre-selling people on why they want to buy the product, then it doesn't matter what your website looks like. As soon as they click the link, they're just going to buy no matter what. But if your ad does a terrible job and it's just clickbaity and it doesn't really show why someone should buy the product. For instance, a lot of those ads would be, oh, I'm following a TikTok audio trend. So here's me doing a 9-second audio trend. Here's my product. Oh my God, it's so cute. Hey, we followed the trend. It gets a lot of clicks. It gets a lot of engagement. But then when people go to your website, because they're not as pre-sold, because they're not as knowledgeable about why they need your product, then your website really has a harder time of converting compared to if you have a more styled ad where it does mention the use cases and it does mention the benefits and it does mention the problems and it does really educate people on why they need the product. It makes your website's job 100 times easier. So these things are congruent. They're tied together. Their performance is linked, is directly linked. Because you'll see, on average, maybe your website is making $1.50 per visitor. But one ad is specifically driving, let's say, $2 per visitor from the traffic it's getting. And then another ad is making 50 cents per visitor from the clicks it's getting. Because this ad just does a better job of selling people. So you have to also notice those things because there will be certain structures of ads that get people to buy and are more profitable than other style ads. So you may see problem solution. My problem solution ads are getting me visitors that are converting at around 4%. And you can do the math. If you know your AOV is $50, okay, that adds, and you can see this directly in your ads manager. Okay, this ad's getting me a conversion rate of 4%. If my AOV is $50, that means that this ad is getting me a revenue per session of $2. And then if I look at another ad and the conversion rate from that ad is $1 or 1%, and if the AOV is 50, then I'm making 50 cents per visitor from clicks on that ad. So obviously I would want to double down on that specific angle that's doing a great job of getting people to convert because certain ads will get people to convert more than others. And clicks are not built equally. I will see a lot of people who say their ads are crushing it because they're getting clicks for 20 cents. And they will also make that decision of, oh, I have two ads right now. One has a cost per click of 20 cents. One has a cost per click of $1. I want to make sure my ads are getting more spend into that 20-cent cost per click ad because it's doing a better job, because it's doing the job of getting clicks. But your ad's job isn't just to get clicks. It's to get high quality clicks. Because I'd rather pay $1 for a US click of someone who is going to spend money on my website. And on average, let's say it spends $3 on my website, which is a 3x return. Then I spend 20 cents for a low quality click. Maybe it's from a poverty country like, let's say the United Kingdom, because God, who wants to live in the United Kingdom? I mean, Brexit. I mean, they're not even in the European Union anymore. A bunch of savages. So if I pay 20 cents for clicks from the UK and I only make 30 cents back, I'm taking the dollar cost per click ad every single time. I'm making a 3x return compared to on the 20 cent click ad. My return is less. It's like 1.6. It's not great. So those are variables you need to think of. So let's just give an example. Today, I was actually looking at a student of mine who's doing about $400 a day. So we looked at his website. So he's selling a higher AOV product. It's about a $97 product. His conversion rate is about 2% right now. So he's making about $1.90. And we saw that his cost per click on his ads was about $1. So he's putting $1 in to get visitors and he's making $1.90 out of that. Now, that is profitable for him at the moment. And he was asking, okay, Ethan, what's the next steps? And when we looked at that, you have to think of, okay, what is easier to do? Is it easier to get my website performing better than $1.90 revenue per session? Or is it easier to get my cost per click down from $1 to that 75-cent benchmark. Because if you think about it, if I now know a really good website makes $1.50 per visitor and my website makes $1.90, then I know my website's crushing. It's doing a great job. But if I now know, okay, my ad baseline should be making around 75 cents cost per click and it's at $1, then that actually means my ad's kind of below average. Now, obviously, we talked about factors of, is it driving high quality traffic? That is definitely something to think about. But in that scenario, I would say, okay, let's tweak your ad a little more. It is doing its job of driving the right quality traffic, but I still believe we can get the right quality traffic for a cheaper cost. I think we can get cheaper eyeballs that are still high quality based on my baselines. So in that scenario, we looked at other metrics. We looked at his hook rate. We looked at his hold rate. We saw where people were dropping off. We looked at his click-through rate. And we noticed, okay, his click-through rate was a little bit lower. So therefore, your click-through rate is usually determined by how many people watch nearly to the end of your ad and see your call to action at the end. So let's try a new call to action. Let's try tweaking the latter 50% of the ad to throw in some more use cases or some more social proof, some more undeniable proof for people to feel the courage to click on the website and buy. So those are the micro adjustments you would make in that scenario. Okay, if my ads are not hitting my metrics, then look at, okay, hook rate, hold rate, click-through rate. Obviously, CPM can also play a part too. But in that scenario, it's just, all right, let's make some new ads. Let's make some variations of your current winning ads that are profitable and try to make them even more profitable. Let's also note what structure are the most profitable ads that are getting you purchases right now. Okay, cool. It's that one. Let's make more ads like this problem solution ad or like this 3 reasons why ad that you're doing, but let's try to make it a little bit more engaging so we get some more clicks that are high quality. So that could be the hook visual, that could be the hook text, the messaging, opening a loop, having some more curiosity, having people ask what happens next, why, how, blah, blah, blah. So for instance, I was talking to a student today who was selling a skincare product. And the angle that was working really well for him was saying that celebrities are using this. So basically in his hook right now, it was a girl doing her beauty routine in the mirror. And she was saying these words out loud of, I always wondered how celebrities got that perfect model-like look. That was the hook. The hook rate was about 30%. Typically on a good ad, you're going to have a hook rate of 50%, meaning 50% of people watch the first 3 seconds of your ad. So because there was a drop off there, we said if we could increase that number from 30 to 50%, you'll get 60% more visitors or 60% more people watching the hook. Therefore, you'll most likely lower your clicks from $1 down to 50 cents or 40 cents. So what we did instead is we said, do you want to know the secret that celebrities use to get that perfect model-like look? So we use certain words like secret, hack, just buzzwords that people just naturally have curiosity towards. And you can just look at what videos are going viral right now in that space, the beauty space, and then try to model your hook based off of that. Also look at what visuals and type of content is your target audience watching. So we know we're appealing to people that really care about beauty and their skin. So look at videos on TikTok right now that organically are working. Because you know those videos are engaging. If they're getting millions of views, clearly people are watching, and it's the same algorithm for ads as it is for organic content. So study those hooks, study the visuals they're using. If you're noticing, okay, so in that ad, we use just a normal person who is filming themselves selfie style in a mirror. Maybe we change that to actually showing the actual celebrities. So have you ever wondered the secret that celebrities use, and then we just flash every second a new celebrity used to get perfect skin? And then we transition into the actual crux, the body of the ad, product intro, benefits, use cases. Here's our social proof. Here's our amazing call to action with urgency that says, hey, the sale ends soon or BOGO ends soon, blah, 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 blah. That is how you improve. So overall, just to summarize, hopefully this makes sense. This is the only thing I actually look at. I did mention earlier how we talked about baselines and how if your business is going through negative periods, how you can use this data as well. So for instance, we just had a student who was doing about $800 a day this week, as we mentioned. So he was doing not $800 a day. He was doing about $1,500 to $2,000 a day. And now his store is doing about $1,000. So it did decrease. And he was wondering, okay, what the hell is happening? So when we looked at his revenue per visitor on the days it was good versus what was happening currently, that's when we noticed the discrepancies, what was going wrong. So on the days things were going really well and he was scaling to $2,000 a day, his conversion rate was 3% and his AOV was 80. He's making $2.40 revenue per visitor. His ads were getting clicks at 40 cents. So he's making a 6x return. Now today, his ads were getting clicks at 40 cents, but his conversion rate went down to around 0.91% on an $80 product. So he went from $2.40 revenue per visitor to around 80 cents. His ads were still doing their job. They were doing the same exact performance of getting clicks at around 40 cents that were high quality, but his website decreased 3x, threefold. Now, why does that happen? It could be because some days are better than other days. Today is Monday that I'm filming it, typically is the worst day in e-commerce, and you will have more bad days on Monday than good typically. And you have to just realize with e-commerce, even when you have a winning product, not every single day is going to be profitable. If you look at the P&L for the biggest e-commerce brands, usually 2 out of the 7 days of the week, they will be unprofitable and not making money. You just need to be more right and more profitable than you need to be less. So if you have 5 wins compared to 2 losses, you're going to make more money over time. You just have to minimize your losses, notice what days you're not really making much money, and then lower your budgets on those days with your ads, and then increase your budget on the days where you know your ads typically perform really well. And you'll notice those trends over time when you're really scaling a winner, which is typically Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Thursday are really great days. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday are typically the worst. So when we looked at his numbers and when we were really talking about it, we said, okay, did we change the website at all from Wednesday when things were going great to now on Monday where things aren't going amazing? No, we didn't. And when that happens, it can be a little bit tougher. This is where you kind of need to have a mentor with multiple years of experience and has seen the scenario a lot, because it is a more complex, nuanced solution. And if you're a complete beginner and you're thinking to yourself, why did things just tank without me changing anything? It can be really frustrating because you don't know why. So in his case, we said, okay, things aren't working. Let's not overreact, but let's obviously start split testing a little bit more so that when days go bad, the actual negative isn't as bad as we think or isn't as this low. So basically, let's try to raise our floor. So on bad days, instead of it being 80 cents revenue per visitor, let's try to raise that floor to about $1 to $1.20, because even at 40 cents, $1.20, it's not so bad. That's a 3x return compared to, we're used to being at a 6x return. So to raise the floor, what did we do? We did the things that we talked about earlier in this video. We started split testing his offer using A/B convert. So we had his original offer, which he's currently running a bundle, but we now are running another bundle side by side. So sometimes you can try the same offer structure, but then try different price points or different amounts. So he was actually selling a product where you can buy 4 as his original offer. And then he had a bundle where they could buy 16. Those were his 2 offers on his main product page. So he wasn't split testing the offer. He was just, okay, your all of traffic is going to go to this one product page that has these 2 options for people to choose. So now we have a second product page going on that has 3 options. So it has the original of buying 4. Now we have a middle ground of buying 8. And now also we have the buy 16. And we're also trying out different price points on those buy 4 and buy 16 compared to the original. And we're going to see which one converts better, because that's the main variable to play around with. It's always the offer. Second is social proof. Third is urgency. Fourth is typically your copy and your messaging. Fifth would be website design. Honestly, website design at this point, I would just say use a basic theme and you'll be fine. All the other variables, so much more important, because I've seen websites that have a $9 revenue per visitor and they look terrible and they have awful copy, but they just have a great offer and a great product, and they have great ads that pre-sell people and get people interested and in that buying mood before they even see the website. They'll buy on the ugliest, scammiest looking website because the ad was that good. So you got to think all these things are tied together. Your website performance is tied to how good your ad is. I wouldn't say vice versa, because if your website's performing great, that doesn't mean that your ad's going to perform great, but those are tied. That is the sequence of events. Now, is there anything else I would mention outside of that? Hopefully this clicks with you guys. Hopefully you know what to tweak. Website, you definitely know. On the ad side, again, new hooks, new angles, looking at what angles and concepts are working and getting a good conversion rate, then making variations of those, because even when it is working, as we mentioned with the student who was making $1.90 revenue per visitor and was getting clicks for $1, Although it was working and it is profitable, let's make it more profitable by doing more variations of the hook visual, the hook messaging, and the body of the ad and the call to action. Those are the 3 variables of an ad: hook, body, call to action. Play around with those variables, understand what KPIs you need to know to determine where the leak is, where things are going wrong on the ad. Because if you know, okay, my hook rate needs to be 50%. If I'm there, am I there? Okay, I am. Awesome. Then let me look at the body. How many people are completing the ad? Okay, so that's hold rate. So typically you want your hold rate to be 10 to 15%. So out of the amount of people, so let's say 100 people watch your hook, you want at least 10 to finish your ad. If you're below that, okay, the ad's boring. People are dropping off. Need to change the body. Need to have more use cases. Okay, if my CTR is low, my click-through rate, which typically you want to be at around 1.5 to 2% baseline, if it's not there yet, okay, my call to action. The last clip is boring, doesn't have a good enough offer, it isn't getting people excited to click onto my website. I need to change that. So essentially, your business, your dropshipping store should just be boiled down to those metrics. Your website and your ad performance. Your ad performance is based on how is it getting clicks onto your website? Is it getting you affordable clicks onto your website that are high quality? And is your website converting those high quality clicks and getting people to spend money? Revenue per session, cost per click. Obviously realize these are the basics and they do become more nuanced when you explore how to improve them. But those are really the only things I look at. How much is it costing you right now to get those visitors, and how much are you making from those visitors? All you need to know. Everything else is irrelevant. So hopefully you learned a thing or two about how to optimize your business, how to really understand what's going right and what's going wrong. And if you're looking for help and you're looking for someone to help you with improving your ads and with improving your website and with improving your product selection, because that also plays a part as well, I do have a coaching program down below that you can sign up for and book a call with my team to see if we're the right fit to work with you. Hopefully you enjoyed. Leave a comment if you did. I love making these styles of videos. Like and comment, and I'll talk to you soon.